Peace. So I want to talk about the Hermetic principles or the Kabbalion, also known as the Kabbalion or the laws of Tehudi. Now, if you don't know who Tehudi is or Hermes, uh, basically Tehudi is one of the deities or the gods in the Egyptian mythology, in the Egyptian spiritual systems. So uh, basically, every ancient culture, every ancient culture has its own mythologies based upon its culture. So in these mythologies, they have deities that they have these deities that they personified, and they gave them certain attributes. It's not like they were worshiping these deities. Uh, Basically, they understood that these are just energies. So Tehudi was never a real man who walked on this planet, or Hermes. Basically, Hermes is the Greek version of Tehudi. It's they are the same deity but different names. They have the same attributes. So you can look him up. You can look up Egyptian mythology. They have these books that I don't know who's the author, but can't remember the author. But they have these books where that are based on mythologies. So they'll give you Norse mythology from A to Z. Then they give you it's sort of like an encyclopedia. So they give you all the deities of Norse mythology. Then they have Hindu mythology A to Z. They'll give you all the names. Uh, and Egyptian mythology, basically every mythology. So you can look him. You can find one of those books on Egyptian mythology or Greek mythology, uh, and find out more about Tehudi or Hermes, as the Greeks call him. So we're gonna go through these 7 principles. So I'll be reading from my PC right here. I'll be reading from a book called Ancient Future. It's by Wayne Chandler. It's called Ancient Future. So let me find this shit. So the principle of first is the principle of mentalism. The principle of mentalism. Let me see. Alright, I got it. So, first things first. In this book, they give you the mythology of Hermes. They give you the story of Hermes. They call it history, but it's not actually history. It's mythology, because, like I said, Tehudi was never a real man who actually walked the planet. So the first principle is the principle of mentalism. and it states that all is mind, the universe is mental. So it says this principle embodies the truth that the all or God is mind. It explains that the all is substantial is the all that the all is the substantial reality underlying all the visible manifestations and appearances that we categorize as the material universe, matter, energy, and all that is apparent to our material senses. This entity, the all, is pure spirit, which is unknowable and undefinable, but it is regarded in the most ancient traditions as the universal, infinite, living mind. So basically, this principle is trying to explain to you how the mind is all, the mind is God. So I did a video breaking down the Matrix, the movie The Matrix, and I linked it with the science of the holographic universe. So like I stated on that video that the material universe or the material world is holographic. There's a whole study on this. You can look up books on the holographic universe so you can get a better understanding on that. But basically, this principle is trying to explain to you that the universe, the universe is mental, which means that the universe is in your mind. You are the universe. You are the universe. Now, I've heard some people try to replace God now that they off religion. So they try to replace God with the universe as if the universe is a being somewhere out there. Just like it's the same idea that Christians have or religious people have, that there is a God somewhere out there in the sky. So this principle is telling you that the mind is all, the all is God, the mind is all, and the universe is mental. That the universe is holographic. The universe is holographic. They explained this in the Matrix that Morpheus said what we call now when they plug Neo into the simulation. He said what we call now is your residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self. The digital self represents the mind, which is the all. So the physical or the material world is a projection or a reflection of the mind, which is the all. So let's continue on. So where was I? Thus, the all is depicted as a man. Let me see. I wanna go to page 28. There's something I wanna read there. This is page 19. So I want to expand on the principle of mentalism. It says, it's the fifth paragraph. Oh, I got it. they say here, the process by which the all creates is very simple, and its comprehension can be facilitated by the second Hermetic axiom or principle that of correspondence, as above so below, that it is based on the belief that there is a working correspondence existing among the many planes of the universe. According to the law of correspondence, an examination of the human process of creation will illuminate that's of the all. Uh, this this that's not what I wanted to read. Oh, this is what I wanted to read. They say the manner of human creation that corresponds to the all is that the human ability to create mentally, to imagine. As we create mentally, we use no outside material, nor do we reproduce ourselves. Yes, the spirits of thoughts or living mind pervades our mental creations. Thus, according to the law of correspondence, we can assume that the all creates mentally. So they saying the all creates mentally, which means the universe creates mentally. The universe is a giant's mind. It's a giant's mind, which there is no universe out there. It's all mental, which means the way that you create your reality is mental. Now, they're basically talking about your subconscious mind, and on that video, on the movie The Matrix, they say Morpheus says there was a man telling Neo a story that there was a man uh, who was when the Matrix was first built. There was a man born inside it, and he had the power to recreate, to change to change the Matrix. So basically, the physical world is the Matrix. This place is the Matrix. So you have the power to recreate this Matrix. You have the power to change this to recreate mentally. Basically, that's talking about the power of your subconscious mind. So once you learn to tap into your subconscious mind, you realize you will be able to recreate your reality. Now, I'm also gonna do a video on the difference between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and also gonna give you tips or techniques on how to tap into your subconscious mind. But they trying to say here by saying the all creates mentally, because like I said, the all is your mind. The all is your mind. So you create mentally. You create your reality mentally. But by your with your subconscious mind, you create your reality mentally. So you should learn how to tap into your subconscious mind so you can change reality to what you see fit. So let me see if I got anything else. So let's go to the second principle, which is the law of correspondence. the law of correspondence, or as as above so below concepts of as above so below, so as within so without. So the principle of correspondence is the as above so below. This principle explicates the constant correspondence that exists between the various planes of life, whether recognized or not. When we perceive our solar system vast and mystifying, with the sun at its center and the planets in orbits around the sun, we may acknowledge the same patterns on a smaller scale or on a microscopic scale. The atom with the nucleus at its core, and the protons, electrons, and neutrons, which like the planets, orbits around the nucleus. So the principle of as above, so below, it tries to show you the correspondence of the forces above, the forces in heaven, and the forces on earth. Let's just put it like that. So it's trying to show you the correspondence, and he uses an example of how the sun and the planets, the sun in the middle of our solar system is is the same as the atom. If you look at the structure of the atom, it has the nucleus at its core. It has the nucleus in the center. So the nucleus represents the sun. The nucleus represents the sun. So the orbits represents the electrons, the neutrons, or the planets represents the electrons or the neutrons, and the protons. I mean, the protons, the electrons, and the neutrons. So basically, it's this is the as above so below context. Or even if you look at the spirals, the spiral pattern of a galaxy, the spiral patterns of a galaxy, it almost looks damn near the same as our fingerprints, the patterns on our fingerprints. So this is the as above so below concept, and as within so without. If you look at our lungs, if you look at the lungs on X-ray, they almost look like trees. So trees is how the planets breathes. Basically, trees are like the lungs of the planets. So as above so below. So let me see if there's something else on the principle of correspondence I can add. Let's go to page 40. Okay. So the second Hermetic axiom or principle is based on the belief that there is a working unison, consistency, or correspondence between many planes or levels of existence, levels of the universe. Stated plainly as above, so below, addresses as above, so below addresses the reflecting or mirroring relationship between the macrocosmic, and the microcosmic reality. So basically, the macrocosmic, the macrocosm, the macrocosm is the universe. Let's just say the universe. So the microcosm is the human, which is whom the human is the microcosm of the macrocosm, which means that the human, you yourself, are a universe yourself. Because, like I said, the universe is mental. The universe is mental, which means you are literally a walking universe. So, let me see if there's anything else. Paragraph 2. So they say many people, if not most, have seen the symbol that represents this axiom. It is now referred to as the Star of David, or the seal of Solomon, or Solomon's seal. This is the hexagram. I've seen the Rastafari people use it. It's the six-pointed star, which is it has a triangle going up and a triangle going down. This is so this symbol represents the as above, so below concepts, or the law of correspondence. So it's also used by the Jews. So let's go to the third principle, which is the principle of, let me see, what page? Oh. Let's see. The next principle is the principle of polarity. Oh, it's the principle of vibration. It's the principle of vibration. The next principle is the principle of vibration. Nothing is at rest, everything moves and everything vibrates. That's what the principle of vibration states. So this principle embodies the truth that everything is in constant motion. Whether this motion is perceivable as irrelevant for whether this emotion is perceivable, it is irrelevant. It is still I think they had a misprint, but whether this motion is perceivable as irrelevant, but for this law affirms that everything vibrates and nothing is ever at rest. Modern science can attest to this fact, but it should be kept in mind that this fact was known for thousands of years. So they say the higher the vibration, the higher the form or entity that exists within that particular frequency. So they're basically trying to tell you that everything that you see in this material world, everything that you see is constantly vibrating, whether you can see it or not, whether it is perceivable or not, whether you can perceive it or not. But everything is in constant motion, everything is constantly vibrating. So they say the higher the vibration, the higher the form the entity takes. So basically, a human vibrates at a higher frequency than let's just say an ant. An ant is a low life form, a low life form. So this principle states that everything has its vibration. Even, for example, let's use it. Let's use this example. Let's just say you was living a certain kind of lifestyle. Let's say you was robbing, you was a criminal. So because you was living in a certain environment with a certain people. So those people that you was hanging with, well, when you was a gang member, y'all were in the same frequency, y'all were in the same vibration, y'all were in the same level of thoughts. So let's just say you change your environment. You start meeting new people who don't live the lifestyle that you used to live. So they introduce you to new things. Maybe you meet somebody who's a rapper, then they start introducing you to rap. Then you change your frequency. Basically, you change your vibration. Let's just say your friend who was a gang member, and the other friend who's a rapper are vibrating at different frequencies. They are at different levels of vibration. So once, let's just say, we just speaking hypothetically, a person decides to change and decides to, let's just say, like, hang out with this rapper just to avoid criminal activities. So they what they're doing is they changing their vibration. They changing their vibration because everything is in constant is constantly vibrating. So basically, that example can be viewed. It can be used to, let's just say, I'm just using that example for you to get an understanding on this principle of vibration. Even people vibrate or at different frequencies. This is why you say the vibe. I'm not vibing with this person. I'm not digging his vibe. You're not digging his vibration because let's just say somebody who's just an asshole. So you'll probably say you don't dig his vibration. You don't dig his vibration because you're not on that vibration. Somebody who is on that vibration would probably like that person. Somebody who's on the asshole vibration will probably like an asshole. So that's what I'm trying to say. The next, let me see if there's more I can read on that principle. They say the higher the vibration, the higher the form or entity that exists within a particular frequency. Therefore, the vibrational connection between some of the grosser forms of matter, such as a rock and a human, is very great. Spirit has the highest vibrational frequency, vibrating at such a phenomenal speed that it seems to be at rest. excuse me, just a rapid moving wheel, rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless. So they're saying that your spirit vibrates higher, vibrates at such a higher frequency that it is perceived to be motionless. That it seems to be motionless. It seems to be still. That's how high the vibration of of spirit is, because spirit is not condensed. It's not as dense as, let's just say, the physical body. It's not as dense as the physical body. This is why the spiritual body is vibrating at a higher frequency than the physical body. So let's go to the law of polarity. So the principle of polarity states everything is dual. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. The extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So this law exemplifies the truth for every extreme that there is another equally valid, and that the extremes thus opposed may be the effect of balancing each other. So there are two sides to everything, and every truth may be false. There are two sides to everything, and every truth may be false. So basically, what they're trying to say is everything has its dualistic nature. Everything has its dualistic nature. There's good, there's bad, there's hot, there's cold, there's Jesus, there's the devil. So they're saying that every truth may be is but half truth, because if you, let's just say, you a religious person, to a religious person, all that shit that's in the Bible is real in their minds. So somebody who knows, let's just say somebody who's spiritual, who's into spirituality and knows the mysteries or the occult or the esoteric meanings to the stories or the allegorical stories in the Bible, will these people have different perceptions, have different truths, believe in different truths. So to somebody who's religious, they may look at the book and they may believe all them stories, because that's all they know. So to them, it's the truth. It's the truth. But to somebody, let's just say, who's conscious, they and knows the esoteric understanding behind the stories, they know they have another truth. So this truth is just as equal as this truth, because your mind makes it real. That's what they said in the movie The Matrix. They told you that your mind makes it real. So to somebody who's religious, somebody who's a Christian, they believe that Jesus actually existed. Jesus actually walked on water. So to them, it is a truth. that they believe, a truth that they subscribe to. So their truth is just as equal as somebody who believes that there is no Jesus, which there is no Jesus. So but to a religious person there is a Jesus, and he's the reason they breathing right now, according to them. So it's a truth to them because their mind makes it real. The mind is all. So you can argue. You can argue about it. You can argue about it. If they believe it's a truth, it is the truth to them. That's their reality. That's what they choose to believe. That's the reality they choose to believe in. So their mind makes it real. It's the truth to them. So it's just as their argument is just as equal as somebody who says there is no Jesus. So let me see if there's more. Uh, they say the law. So there are two sides to everything. I'm sure you've heard the phrase "there's two sides to every coin." That's basically trying to that's basically related to this principle right here, that uh good, evil, hot or cold is only based on are the same. The principle states that like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature. So, but different in degree. This book has great, a good example. Uses a good example. So basically, when they're saying opposites meet, what they're trying to tell you is that like and unlike is the same, are the same, but different in degree. They're basically telling you that uh, hot or cold are the same. Opposites are the same. Hot or cold are the same, but different in degree. They are the same because they are both temperature, but different poles of temperature. On the other pole it's hot, on the other pole it's cold. So they are both temperature. So you can another way you can look at it is the idea of good and evil, which is which was or Jesus or the devil, which is an religious idea, the concept of good and evil. So good and evil are the same. It's only based on your perception. It's only based upon your perception. These are two extremes of the same pole. Yeah, but these are identical. This law states opposites are identical in nature. So let me see. There's something else on law of polarity. She think it's me. I got it. I got it. Mm, let's see. Oh, so the Hermetics of ancient Egypt had a thorough understanding of the functional dynamics of the law of polarity. This, no, 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 it's not the paragraph. The paragraph. Oh, this fourth great principle from the Hermetic perspective embodies the truth that all things manifested in the mental universe have two sides, two aspects, two poles, and a pair of opposites with multiphasic degrees between them. Thus, everything has inherent duality or poles, which manifest the multitudes of opposites that we encounter on a daily basis. Batteries have an anode or anode and a cathode, if that's how you pronounce it, or positive and negative aspects that, when properly connected, will generate electrical power. So they're using a battery as an example, that when the positive energy and negative energy work together, they produce electrical power, just like the man and the woman come together and they produce a child. So basically, they say when the opposites when opposites are equally like and unlike, opposites have a I mean opposites have a when properly, have a way of balancing each other. Opposites have a way of balancing each other. This is why some people say opposites attract, because they have a way of balancing each other. So that's the kind of like the example I was giving on how the man and the woman come together and create a child. Just like Wayne Chandler here gives an example of a battery, how the positive and the negative energy, when properly when it's properly functioning in cahoots, to get corresponding, it produces electrical power. So that's what it is. So you have to find a way to balance out these energies even within you, because you also have negative energy and masculine energy within you as a being. It doesn't matter if you are male or female. You have mass If you are a man, you have feminine energy in you. You have feminine and masculine energy in you. If you are woman, you also have masculine energy in you. So that also links with principle of gender, but we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. So next, the principle of gender. Gender. The extremes meet and have a way of balancing each other. That's what I wanted to say when I was stumbling a lot. The next principle is the principle of gender. It's the fifth principle. And it states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principle. Gender manifests in all on all planes. This axiom embodies the truth that gender is manifested in everything. The masculine and the feminine principles always work together. This is not only true on the physical plane, but of the mental and spiritual planes as well. This principle has an affinity with the polarity axiom, like I was saying. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex, but on higher planes, it takes other form. No creation, whether physical, mentally, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. Without our own individual spheres of existence, every we know that every male has elements of feminine energy, and every female carries components of masculine energy, like I was saying. When this law is employed, we see creation of planets and solar systems and animal life and all kinds. So the gender manifests in everything. So it's just like in the atom. In the atom, the negative or the feminine principle is the electron, and in the masculine principle is the protons. The neutrons are neutral. So they say that how the universe creates the sunlight has to be the sun has to strike an atom so that it becomes charged, and it becomes unstable, then it gives away an electron. So it gives away an electron, which is the feminine principle. So that's how it creates uh, other elements, and that's how the material universe is created by atoms. By atoms, we know that atoms are in everything. Everything in the material world is comprised of atoms. Is made up of atoms. So it's just like how the universe creates. It gives away the atom. The atom gives away the feminine aspect, which is the electron, and the creation takes place. And even when you look at humans, that's how we create. That's how babies are created. Vagina, the penis. That's creation. The vagina creates. The vagina is the woman. The woman is the nurturer. The woman is the creator, the feminine principle in this aspect. So everything has its masculine and feminine principle. That's what this principle is trying to tell you. So next is the principle of rhythm. Principle of rhythm. It states everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So this principle the principle of rhythm explains the cycles of life. The truth that everything has a tide like ebb flow. Hermes stated that the herb of the tide is equal to its flow, and it's set and is set motion and maintained by the rhythm of the universe. There can be no better example than of the various races and their civilizations. Basically, they talking about the okay. Let me continue. The various races and their civilizations. Once they were opulent and great empires that were created and maintained or influenced by the black race for thousands of years. These civilizations flourished as a pinnacle of cultural influence, holding sway even over those nations that they did not touch directly. Just just as the great swing of the pendulum brought about their ascension, so it brought about their demise. Therefore, within so they basically talking about how there's a flow in everything. So there's highs and lows, just like you emotionally. Sometimes you feeling happy, or sometimes you feeling sad. So that's the flow. That's the rhythm. So you basically have to try to maintain this rhythm on one side. Let's just say, in terms of you as a human, in terms of your emotional state of being, you become happy, sometimes you sad. So you have to try to maintain happiness at all times. Try to maintain happiness at all times. You have to learn how to control your emotion, which comes through by controlling your emotional body, which is your second chakra, and basically clearing out the blockages that are in your chakra system. That's how you can maintain happiness, because happiness is a state of mind. Happiness is a state of mind. So that's the law of rhythm. That's the law of rhythm. The last principle is the principle of cause and effect. Cause and effect. They say every cause has its effects, every effect has its cause, everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. That's what the principle of cause and effect states. So this principle purports that everything happens according to law. Nothing merely happens. Chance and coincidence do not exist. These are terms human beings choose to use or are forced to use because of ignorance of the principal work. The masses of the earth are governed by a herd instincts. The may the many are led aimlessly by few, destined to be carried along obedient to the wills and desires of others. Uh, others stronger than themselves, because they are basically unconscious. They are forever subject to the effects of environment, heredity, suggestion. No, no, no. Let me reread this sentence. Because they are basically unconscious, they are forever subject to the effect of environmental heredity, suggestion, and other outward forces moving them about like pawns on a chessboard. Once this principle is understood and practiced, one becomes a mover as opposed to being moved, a player in the game as opposed to being played. So basically, this law of cause and effect states that for every cause there's an effect. For every effect there's a cause, which means that no matter uh, whatever has happened to you, whatever you've experienced, there was a cause. Nothing happens by chance or coincidence. So this law states that if you do something, you are guaranteed to get not like karma, but to get an effect. If you uh, if you make a cause, let's just say you doing a ritual. Let's say you're doing a ritual. So the ritual is the cause. So there has to be an effect according to this law. There has to be an effect. So doing the ritual based on your intention of why, or based on your purpose on why you're doing the ritual. So there has to be results. There has to be results. So whatever you do, whatever this is why you have to control your mind. Learn how to control your mind, because if you allow yourself to be programmed to live by other people's suggestions, to live by other people's uh, thoughts, to be controlled by other people's thoughts, or you a follower, just like he says. I like what he says. Yeah, he says once you understand this principle, you become a mover instead of being moved. So you start once you understand this principle, you start creating your reality. You start creating your reality. But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to recreating reality and using the power of the subconscious mind. So once you understand this principle and you start using this principle, you start creating your own reality. That's what it means by becoming a mover instead of being moved. Yo, yeah, well, that's what it is. So you can get a book. This book, I actually like this book because it breaks the principles in detail. I was just giving you a basic understanding. He goes through each and every law in detail. In detail, each law has its own chapter, so you can get this book and read it by yourself. It's called Ancient Future by Wen Chandler. There's another book called The Emerald Tablets of Thor. Let me see if I can find the authors of these books. Mm. Oh, oh. There's another one. There's another one. Mm. The the Seven Tablets of Creation, by Leonard William King. Let me see. No, no, no. Nah, this is not one. But this one here, Ancient Future, is a pretty good book that'll give you an understanding on the laws. Nah, this one, not this one. But there's another one called The Emerald Tablets of Thor. Can't seem to find it. Yeah, can't seem to find it. But you can Google it. You can Google it. I'm sure you'll find it. You or Google something along the lines of the Hermetic principles or the Book of Thought. I'm pretty sure. Haven't read the Book of Thought, but I got it. I haven't read it yet. I'm pretty sure they got the seven principles, the Hermetic principles. But there are many books on the Hermetic principles. Like I said, the Emerald Tablets of Thor. It's just that I don't really care to remember these authors' names. But I'm sure if you Google them, you will find them. So peace until next time. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon.